What's up, beautiful people? This is Christian from the Successful Spiritualpreneur podcast, and today I'm super excited to have Hannah Marie Muse on the show, and she's the founder of Her Temple, a foundation created to celebrate femininity and the healing arts. With a message of intimacy and authenticity, the Muse, Hannah, shows up as an inspirational facilitator for private events, performs as an ambassador of the divine feminine on the pole, and writes sexy, sultry music for the masses. Her greatest passion is working one-on-one with singles and couples to ignite the spark back into life.
Mm.
Hannah's wildlife journey has given her a profound connection to God, which she openly shares about and teaches from to inspire others to live a more expressed and blessed life. She often shares about the miracle frequency in hopes that you too will let go of the past and step into the ever present now with her, because that's where the magic is. Welcome to the now, Hannah.
Oh, thank you, Christian. Thank you for having me. Feels so
Such
good.
such an honor to have you on. And I really, when I'm in your presence, I get this full blown feminine energy. And it's so wonderful, and you express it so beautifully and elegantly when
Mm.
you're around. And yeah, so how did that, like, my first question would be, how did that come about? Like, what made you really be so much in your feminine? Like, because I meet a lot of, not that many women, I'm married, but, but when you meet a woman, it's not everybody's that expressed in it. So what's your secret and what's your story?
Mm. Thank you for that question. Wow. Uh, what is my story? Growing up, I was expressed as a child. I can still remember being expressed and being theatrical. And I've always had this bigger than life zest. Like, I'm so connected to things out of this world. And I'm sure, like many people, that wasn't actually fostered in my reality. I was very guided. My parents wanted me to be a lawyer. I was really school smart. And so there was this idealism around you're going to be the one to go to college. You're going to buy your grandpa. I remember it was like a running joke in the family. Like, you're going to buy your grandpa his favorite Jaguar car. Like, that was my purpose, was to buy my grandpa a nice car. and, um, and like good grades, very, what do I call it? Militant. Like, I was a militant child. I woke up, I studied, I didn't go out until I had all my homework done. And there wasn't a lot of play. Like, play was squashed in my life, in my reality. And it took me years to get that back. To feel comfortable in the unknown, because the play is such improv. There's no mathematical equation to play. You can throw an idea out there, but when you're in relationship, you don't know what's going to happen except for how you show up yourself. Like, that's really all you can control. And so, oh my gosh, throughout my life, my process has been around taking off those masks and really getting to the center of my center, which is that inner child, the 6, 7 year old that wanted to play with frogs, that wanted to stop everyone. I remember being 7 and I would stop everyone in the hallway and they would have to watch me put on some weird show or like interpretive dance to get through the hallway. Because these are our moments. Like, we came here to create and we came here to be free and to mess up and to, I call it fail forward, and to just be in the essence of purity and joy. And so my expression now is just so much more full than it used to be. And I'm so grateful because it had to shift a lot. Just like I explained, it's like I had to really come into this knowing of my value outside of what I produce and outside of how good I can produce things. And so now I get to touch this richness of life that is all things. I love my sadness. I love rainy days. I love my joy. I love my sparkle. I love life sparkle, but I feel really connected to all of life in a way that I hope gives other people permission to just be in the radical delight of human. Like, what an insane miracle.
Yes, so true. And every time I'm in your presence, I feel that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, look at how Hannah is herself. It's like this, and it really, like, every time I saw you, I was like, wow, she lives so self-expressed, and
Mm,
it's really a value that I admire so much about you, and it's beautiful. That's so. Whatever you do, it's working. Your energy is contagious.
mm,
And I mean, I can see how your energy can also be too much for some people, um, but that's usually the ones who just like haven't found that there is what you can connect with, and who you want to be and how expressed you can be. So yeah, I really want to honor you for that.
mm,
So thank you for sharing those codes with us every day you walk around. So
mm,
yeah. And so from my like this podcast is about like combining these two worlds, like spirituality and entrepreneurship. How
mm,
have you combined, or first of all, what's your definition of a spiritualpreneur, and how have you combined that in your life?
mm. I love this. That's profound. I've been thinking about that actually. Because when I look at life, women and men that are entrepreneurial but deeply connected to God, there's like no choice but to be walking that path. And I like to think of it as, okay, I've had a journey and I'm willing to share it with you so that you have a faster access point to things that I've gone through. Um, and so for me, a spiritual entrepreneur is somebody that, yeah, it's like, whoa, what I want to say it's like archetypal almost. Like, what is my piece to claim? Like, what have I gone through over and over again that I can share and own and almost like be responsible? That's actually come online for me really hard in the last few years. Is just like, not only do I get to share it, I have to because people are suffering. I suffered. When I wasn't expressed, I suffered. I was an addict. I was an alcoholic. I I felt very two-faced. Like I have a lot of joy, but there's a lot of pain. And I was afraid to like let both of them exist, even though they're all perfect. Like all of us is always welcome. Everything is just a messenger. And so for me, a spiritual entrepreneur is somebody that is willing to walk a path and then give it away so that others can walk that path with them and to be a testament to their archetypal journey. I'm obsessed with archetypes.
So what type of archetypes? I don't know. Like, what's methodologies, or what's directions that you've studied and explored with archetypes?
Mm, yeah. Well, it's like right now I'm really into working with women around pleasure. And so there's the archetype in the shadow of like the sacred whore versus the pleasure priestess. And then there's the archetype of the queen or the princess. And so as we move through life, we're in these different energies. We're either in our maiden or we're in our mother, we're in the crone. And so I've just been working with where am I and how is this actually a universal story? Because so often, like, I know I was like, no, I'm the only person that's suffering, or I'm the only person that feels trapped in their expression. But when we take ourselves out of that, it's an archetype of like victimhood, it's an archetype of the hero's journey. And so the more that we can realize through sharing, which is what I'm so into right now through art and music, we let people see an aspect of ourselves that they can then relate to, which then gives them permission to be like, oh, I'm not alone. Does this feel good for me? And what archetype do I want to portray? Do I want to be the person that needs help all the time? Do I want to be the person hiding? Or do I want to be the person, Brene Brown says it, like living in the arena of life, just like heart open, willing, available, real, raw. Mm.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I think that's what you do so well. You really go through life with such an open heart. And so can you share a pivotal moment in your life that led to, being that spiritual entrepreneur, or where you say it's like, yeah, I mean, it's really no choice about this. It's like, I have to do it because it's just like, this is the thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Gosh, so many moments. I love this question. There's been so many moments. Um, from early on, I always knew I wanted to help people. I didn't know how that was going to show up. And so I also just followed my joy and followed ease and followed like what's in front of me, what feels good, what am I curious about. It started with massage. I've loved human bodies. I love people feeling good. I love to feel good. That merged into energy work, which merged into tantra. And then where I'm at now that has been so impactful is it was my own recovery journey, actually, when I decided to look at I want to say like the profound moments that changed me, which were pole dance, community, an opportunity and a safe space to be all of me. I knew that I had to give that away because it works so well for me. And I have so much in my life that I'm grateful for. And and I was also recognizing there are not a lot of spaces that felt as fun. Like I think for me, a pivotal moment was like I kept trying to get sober or trying to land somewhere where I belonged. And I was like, I just don't belong anywhere. And I was like, well, why don't I create somewhere I belong? Why am I not just, if I want to belong in this way, if I want to belong fully expressed and full of life and full of love and make things sexy and fun and even make the hard moments like enjoyable, I needed to create it. And that's where her temple actually came from, was because I had seen so many things and I have been a part of so many things that I am in full reverence to. I'm so grateful for all of the golden nuggets that I've gotten to lean into. I feel like I have collected from so much in my life. And the culmination is now her temple because it's all of the pieces that I feel are necessary for full integration and something that like is enjoyable. I'm not going to keep healing if it's not fun. It's just not going to work for me.
Tell us a little bit more about her temple. What is it and what happens there?
Yes, her temple. Her temple is gosh, it's not a space yet, but it is a space within all of us. It's the heavenly erotic revolution. And when I speak into eroticism, it's not even about sexuality as much as it is in intimacy with all of life, intimacy and delight in all of life, and the heavy moments and the high moments. How can we be so ourselves and so surrendered to the flow that it becomes this sensual dance and this erotic for me is aliveness, this alive dance that where others want to come in and play. My girlfriend says this all the time, like, let's make the revolution sexy. And that's also something I believe. Like, how do we want to get people to wake up if it's boring? Like, let's get people to wake up and to lean into the truth of who they are in a way that feels really good. So the Her Temple is actually a nonprofit. It's a spiritual foundation that celebrates women and that celebrates the more feminine way of doing things, that is soft, that is emotive, that is creative, that is emergent, that, gosh, is everywhere all at once. And I actually started it on Mary Magdalene Day because I want to give this balance back to the masculine and feminine. I know, like, I'm not opposed to Jesus Christ. I love Jesus. I love God. I pray to the angels every day. And so how are we going to create real change is they're back in harmony. Like we're really ushering in a new era where we're in reciprocity with the masculine and feminine aspects of ourselves and healing together and growing together. And so the Her Temple is just another facet of what I see as an imperative space for men and women to come together within the masculine and feminine within. Like, of course I can be expressed, but can I show up to work on time? Yes. Like there needs to be structure and there needs to be flow. And so the Her Temple is a space where we're celebrating femininity and creating spaces for women to come back home to themselves. Because I really feel a woman in her power and her beauty and her ability to express in a mature way is helping everyone around her, is helping her husband provide, is helping her community grow, is helping her sisters see what's possible. And that's my highest excitement in the whole universe.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really, it's so nurturing and nourishing to be around women who feel comfortable in their own skin, whether that's, sexy or erotic or just like express, but just like as long as somebody is just like feels comfortable in their skin. It's just, wow, what a pleasure to be around. And there's this quote by, that reminded me of your, make the revolution sexy. There's this quote by Tony Cade Bambara, which is an African American, social activist and documentary maker. And it says, the role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible. Yeah.
I just got the chills.
That's what we do, like I'm a designer, so that's how I make the revolution of love irresistible, right? With Love Pixel Agency. It's like I was like trying to point people into like, hey guys, there's this other thing called love that also, maybe it could be an option. You know what I mean? I think for me, I mean, yeah, love is just where it's at. I think it's that unifying value, and really, like in your case, I really honor you for just like bringing all these like Mary Magdalene codes to the planet and really helping us to like realize and be in that and experience those. And so, when was the last time you would say you followed your? I would say that's a rather hard question. You'll probably do it all the time. But when was the last time you followed your intuition over logic in your business, and what was the outcome?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I want to say, gosh, I do this all the time. So it's like, how do I even pinpoint one? Um, I have to all the time, actually. The most recent one that is happening in this moment, I've been nomadic. I love being nomadic. And I just signed a lease, which for me, I'm like, oh, my human does not like attachment to things or places even, but my soul is like, this home is perfect for events, and I have to get out of the way because I'm here to bring people together so that they can experience what it's like to be connected and to own all parts of themselves in pleasure and in the hard moments, like true full spectrum femininity. And I'm so excited because it's beautiful. I found a home that has a stage and a rooftop, and like it was designed to bring people together. And so logically, I do not want to do this. It doesn't make any sense. I'm supposed to be in Europe. And my intuition though is guiding me to bring people together and to spend the summer creating spaces for people to soften, really, like a safe oasis, especially in Los Angeles where there can be a lot of density and chaos. It feels like a 0 point of stillness, and the doors will be open pretty consistently to have people flow in and out, and spend time together with
That's
tea.
beautiful.
Yeah, and spoken word. But it happens all the time. Like I would go on trips. I know I went on this trip. I was assisting a woman, and in my heart I was like, this doesn't make any sense. This is not my project. I got to the event and ended up signing like a $10,000 client. Stuff like that because I'm in service. I call them God missions. Like there are
Mm.
many times that Hannah as a person, which God bless her, confusion, doesn't want to do something, but God or my angels are like, excuse me, go be in service. Like go walk the walk of a muse, be an angel for someone, because I believe angels are in human form. Um, and so I feel really blessed to participate in life that way. And that's also very feminine. There's nothing linear about it. There's absolutely nothing linear about it at all. But when I hear the call to go be in service, I don't do it because I'm going to get blessed. I do it because I want to be the best ambassador of the angel and of the muse that I can. And I want to be able to teach from that. So that's a great question.
Beautiful. So let's talk about something that's rather masculine, which is your website technology. So tell me about like how your website slash branding journey, any upgrades or redesigns have impacted your business, and what like was it linked to any personal or business milestones?
Amazing. So you actually made a website for me a long time ago. Yeah. And I think just owning that I wanted a website was a huge start for me. I've probably had four since then, three, four. Um, and it's interesting. My website, I want to actually upgrade it in this moment, But from a feminine standpoint, the website has always just been a representation of like, okay, I'm online, I'm available. And the first one that you made was like, wow, I'm taking myself more seriously. I ended up making two more on my own, and I'm working on a third that's more user friendly. Um, Along with my branding, I never really cared because I felt like as long as I was in integrity with my life and my brand, things are always working around me. And so I've always used these outer things or websites, cards, even as more of like, okay, God, like, look at me taking the action. Um, yeah, for me, it's always just been like,
Yeah.
all right, like it's the effort that is showing like, okay, I take this seriously. I've never done well with websites, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've gotten maybe 5 clients off of Instagram. I work on a really magical plane where it's all there and people can find me through it. But a lot of my work is networking. I did have one website that multi six like this website slayed. I made it like listening to jazz over the evenings during COVID. It was so an outpouring of my heart, but I don't even have it online anymore because it doesn't represent who I am. And so I'm actually in a liminal space where I have a collective website up, and it's just it's like an action point so people know that this is a thing that's birthing. But what's been working for me is, again, those God missions, going out into public, helping my friends with their events, getting clients from things like that. Even you coming into my life, I had written down last week, I want to be on a podcast. And I swear you reached out. I was like, okay, see. So it's fascinating to me. But branding is important to me right now. I feel a real cohesiveness because I've owned so much of myself that there's a deeper access point to how I am showing up in the world in coherence and in integrity and authenticity. So it's
Yeah.
an ever flowing journey
No,
of the Phoenix Rising.
I've always felt it about you. It's like, how am I gonna put this woman in a box? Because the website is nothing else than a big box. Because you just have so many aspects of yourself, and I feel like you're constantly upgrading and learning. And this is like when people don't want to be seen as that one thing, it's really hard to create a website because the website is really often only maybe one, two, maybe even three things, right? There's only so many things you can put on a website without making it confusing. Like, oh yeah, I do this and this and this. Like for my personal brand right now, it's like, well, I do websites and branding work, right? As part
Mhm.
of my agency, I do tea. And at some point, maybe I do something spiritual. Maybe
Oh,
do more channeling or something else is which is what I'm very interested in. But like I think after like how do you position yourself without making it confusing? I think is a big part. And yeah, so it's beautiful to know. And I feel really you work on such a miracle frequency, which we can talk about more too. That's just really the basis of the internet is just feels so masculine that sometimes it's so hard to convey the feminine, right? And so that's also like part of what we try to do at Love Pigs is like, well, we want to bring the feminine back online because it is the key to our next step of evolution as humanity. It's like, you know, integrate and embody these feminine values because those will be, coming in the future more. Um, but yeah, so with that being said, I think expressing the organic, the feminine online is always an art form, right?
mm.
And so yeah, so let's talk about the miracle frequency. What is it, and what do you define it as?
Wow. I love that you brought it up. I love the miracle frequency. You know, when I tune in, what I really appreciate about is the universe is that we are all made of this same web. Like we're all very connected. It's a tapestry. All things are woven together regardless of how our mind wants to separate. It's one song. It's one the universe, it's like one song. It takes a whole band to make the melody, but it's one song. And when I think of the miracle frequency, it's being so connected to that song and so in trust of God and of life, really. Like God for me is good, orderly direction. Um, but it's being so connected to that there's support and there is delight and there's safety and protection and there's joy and there's miracles. Like the things that you need are showing up. The love that you desire is here now. And when you feel that, it moves through the tapestry of life, it vibrates through the tapestry of life to come back to you. There's protection. There have been moments in my life where I should not be here, but through that web, which is a two-way street, we're not just putting information out all the time. We're also deep listening. And so the miracle frequency is this opportunity and this ability to deeply listen to the call and then to take that action. So we're in this beautiful conversation with the pieces around us. And through that, through trusting that, we know that our needs are met. We know that we're safe. We know that life is a living, breathing miracle that we can trust to take the next step, which is in our hearts.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is what the miracle frequency is to me.
So, how can we get into the miracle frequency?
Okay. So do you want to talk about getting into the miracle frequency or just the miracle? Let's talk about it all. Let's talk about it all. So
Yeah.
you guys, when I think of life, right, this infinite tapestry that when our channels are clear and we trust a loving higher power, when we trust all of life to be in unison with us, we're in a conversation with the things around us. When we know our inherent value, we are valuable to the earth. And so we allow these miraculous moments to come about. The miracle frequency, I'm just like astounded by all of life. Sometimes I get so lost. I'm like, how do people not know this is a miracle? We live on a floating rock with flowers and food that is edible. I can eat a cucumber. The earth has birthed a cucumber for me to enjoy. And it is not only delicious, but like succulent and juicy and mangoes and all these things. And then I am from like a literal drop of water. I was born from a drop of water and now I'm a fleshy human being pulsing with electricity. It's so astounding to me. And so when I think of life and this tapestry that we're in, when we're in our state of love, when we're in coherence with our purpose and our higher power, we're communicating always something out to the world, but we're also in deep listening. And so we can receive these miraculous moments, these moments that just shake us to our core, that bring tears down our eyes, because there's actually inherently so much beauty, perfection, and order amongst all of the chaos. And so the miracle frequency is that deep listening, is that intuition and action. It's the divine union of being alive so that we can be in reciprocity, because not only do we receive miracles from life, but we get to be miracles for others. And then this whole thing just becomes this joyous dance of reciprocity. And I get the chills thinking about it, because it's like, I mean, what an honor. What an honor to choose that life, to make a choice to be in coherence and to trust and to free fall into beauty and service. For me, the miracle frequency has just been something like, I think because I take a lot of massive leaps and I change a lot, I've had to rely on something, because I didn't grow up with a lot of support or whatever. So the whole world had to become my support system, and not had to, like I had to lean into community and life and beauty and, that inner knowing of like, whoa, it's so much bigger than me. And I'm so important and pivotal. Show me what to do next to make this a home run. That's how I think of it.
Wow. Yeah, it's a fascinating way of life, and I don't know if that's true, but I feel sometimes women have a little bit more access to that than men, you know? I feel the way you guys feel and the way you guys express and just are a little bit more connected. Cause like in my head, I'm just like, yeah, that sounds cool. I would love to live like that. But how do I get there? That's what my head is saying, you know?
Mm. I love that. I would say, so for men, I think it is. I wrote a poem about this yesterday. Actually, I won't read the poem, but it's all about that head and the heart. And I do see men as the headier of
Mm. Yeah.
the humans and women as the heart. And so for men, I feel like the miracle gets to be like loving women. And for women, our miracle gets to be like ushering men into that frequency
Mm.
through how we guide them, through what feels good for us, through our dreams. Women are these oracles. Our dreams are only even in our minds so that we can come to the men in our lives and be like, let's create this. I can't do it without you. And then men get to be a part of this flow of beauty because they're like, wow, this came as like a ephemeral fairy wish in her mind. And now I get to see it come to life. And this is what the Her Temple is all about. It's like reminding women of their value and worth, and then how to love men so that the men are like, yeah, let's all be on board together. We can't actually do it alone. Like the miracle is nothing without you guys.
Wow. That's beautiful. I love that. So let's talk about the new earth.
Yeah.
What is your vision of the new earth?
So perfect because we just said this. My vision of the new earth is the heavenly erotic revolution where men and women are in their maturest, most evolved state so that there is coherence and harmony in how we collaborate. And we are both in our utmost valued, necessary seats next to each other. And then from there, everything is possible.
I love that. Beautiful. So we're nearing the end of the episode, and I always want to give this part to my guests to do a little bit of visioning and like what are your future visions that you have and that you want to call in as a spiritual entrepreneur, as yourself. So what are you looking to call in?
Mm, what am I looking to call in? That's so valid. I what comes to mind first is more community spaces that are already in this dynamic with men and women in service to each other, birthing creative spaces, art, loving communal living, work that is soul nourishing, like men that are just juiced to show up, women that are juiced to be themselves, and that harmonious collaboration. And I love like getting to taste those all over the world. So more of that, like whoever you are out there, reach out to me if this is something that you do or you have, because I love to spend time in these communities. And then right now in my world, I teach pole dancing. I'm teaching pole dancing all summer. And so I'm calling in women that want to embrace the dynamic of feminine and masculinity through dance and through pole dancing, especially. Um, I'm hosting events, so I'm calling in people to come and play in this temple, in the temple of she, in the Her Temple. And right now, my biggest excitement is couples. Like, I want couples to feel inspired together and like they can make that leap to not only like being in partnership that is practical, but that is profound. So all of those things.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. I think that's really that's so yeah, it's so beautiful to call that in, I think, and the world is looking for that. People are looking for deeper connections of being, of creating together. And so yeah. So as your closing words, like what are the last words that you want to leave our audience with, and where can people find you and get in touch with you?
Hmm. Okay. My last words are a poem. And then I'll share where you can find me on Instagram and on Spotify. There truly is a method to this madness, life's kiss. It awakens the angel wings within which we fly. Hearts opened and soaring, ecstasy pouring from all of the places once darkened inside, now shining in the light. delight. Dance within the realm of totality with me, weaving the infinite web of immortality. Mortal being, lean into your vulnerability. It's the medicine needed for divine tranquility. Acceptance is the moment that your angel wings open and start soaring. And don't be afraid to lift up off the ground, because the moment you release your fears, you notice other angels around.
Wow. Wow. This is so incredible. This is so incredible. I'm
Thank
telling you,
you.
it's like, you know, I have a myriad of people on this show, but when people just show up from their heart like you do, it just blows it out of the water, No tactic or no, this is how you make $1 million in 30 days. Who gives a shit? You know? Who gives a shit? This is what we're here for as humans, to experience this intangible, rich, immortal feeling and connection. So thank you for that poem.
You're welcome. And we need $1 million. Like, I would say yes to the, let's say yes to all of it so that we can bird these like
Mm,
incredible spaces and places, which you are so good at doing. Like you're so good at the tangible, and like I'm just in the intangible often. But it takes teamwork. So you guys find me. The angelmusecollective.com is one place where you can find a conglomeration of both my art, my poetry, my sessions, and the intention behind her temple. On Spotify, I channel actually an angel, L Eminence, and she is the embodiment of life moving through humans. So listen to my music and my poetry on Spotify. Otherwise, on Instagram, I'm I.am.the modern muse. And that's a place where all my random musings just come hang out in all the places and spaces.
beautiful. Last question. What's one of your favorite music artists right now?
What is one of my favorite music artists? I'm so obsessed with music. I'm like kind of all over the place. What have I been listening to? I just did a performance to Kali Uchis. I Wish You Roses. So I'm really into sultry R&B sounds. Um, there's this song Hide and Seek by Flo and like something, I don't even remember, but all of the like feminine, Sabrina Claudio, all of the like, just like, I want to make love to life music.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here and leaving us with your Mary Magdalene codes, your miracle frequency, and your revolution.
Thanks, Christian. It's been so fun. Thank you for giving me a space to share my message. Love you guys.
Bye.